in this boat together.
Let me turn, if I can, to health care because of our limited time. Former Speaker Pelosi said yesterday, are you really now ready to say to the American people that what you want is that children who have pre-existing conditions should no longer have health insurance, that women with breast cancer should be dumped by their insurance companies, as it was before this legislation? 26-year-old children whom you've just put on your health care can no longer be on your health care. And the elderly who need to fill that prescription drug across the donut hole are going to be paying another $1,000 a year for their drugs. Are you ready to say to them, do it?
Then we ask the other side of the question as well to current Speaker Pelosi. Are you willing to have tax increases on people that are struggling to be able to feed their families right now because a portion of their insurance is being paid by their employer?
So you're saying,
are you willing to put more burdens on small business for every $600 purchase with your 1099s that are being put into place? Are you willing to surrender that opportunity to be able to make those choices between you and your doctor and have them handled out of Washington, D.C.? So there's another part of the equation, and I think
so in the
speak
balance,
for everyone,
but there's a part that
there are some elements that are
in
good.
This discussion.
Yeah.
Everyone focuses on the fact, like the speaker said, of what we're taking away. With the left hand, we need to repeal Obamacare because it's an economy-crushing, job-killing bill. Period. It is a mess.
Even if it means saying these things.
But that's the left hand. The right hand should be writing new legislation.
That's not necessarily what it says. I mean, I grew up on a farm. I didn't have health insurance until I was 24 years old. So I didn't even know I was poor until the government told me I was poor. And, you know, that's the problem with Washington. And in today's society, we have an independent spirit about us. We find ways of getting the job done. States can take care of health care issues rather than the federal government. Let them be more.
But again, you know, the Democrats have been saying this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where you have to say to people right now, no, you'll have to pay that extra $1,000 a year for your.
Only if you
it's a state regulatory issue.
That's right. Well, only if you define it as an either-or situation. Well, either we have Obamacare or we have kids that have no insurance and will go barefoot and running in the street. It's not always an either-or situation.
But it's as it was before.
Well, but as it was before, it wasn't perfect. Let's say, for example, I have a heart attack today because of all these horribly tough questions you're giving. And then I have this heart attack.
I want you to know that Congressman Brooks told me to ask tough questions.
I know. But let's say I have a heart attack and I survive. If I survive, my health insurance expires in 1 year. That's a problem. Then I have a pre-existing condition. But let's say we sold health insurance like term life insurance and I had a 20-year contract. Then I have a heart attack, I survive, my rate doesn't go up on my term life insurance. There were ways to get the marketplace involved, but instead we chose the government solution, not the market solution.
As we know, Congressman Mike Kelly of Pennsylvania has said he's renouncing his taxpayer-subsidized health insurance that he gets coming here to Congress. How many of you are going to renounce it?
Yeah.
Rest of you? Yeah. Why not?
First of all, Congress should not be exempt from rules they passed, and that's exactly what happened here. In fact, I ask everybody to denounce that because we shouldn't be taking that unlike anybody else in regular, everyday America.
Yeah, I'm not taking the health insurance either, maybe for different reasons, but I want to go back to the point you were talking about earlier. This is not Nancy Pelosi versus the new Republicans. This is the will of the people, and the people spoke in our country. They do not like government-run mandated health care. And the point that was made that we are resilient is 100% accurate. And we've got to start being personally responsible rather than always looking for a government solution. Government has a role, but it should be limited, it should be effective, it should be efficient.
The rest of you who are not renouncing it, how do you answer this?
There's a big difference between receiving health insurance through one's employer, on the one hand, and on the other hand, establishing a national regulatory program that tells people where to go to the doctor and how to pay for it. And they are not equivalents. They're not economic equivalents. They're not regulatory equivalents.
But the taxpayer doesn't have an option but to support
Look,
the taxpayer has
healthcare
no choice.
regulation is fundamentally a creature of state law. It states that licensed doctors and nurses and clinics and hospitals, it states that regulate the health insurance industry, that establish the tort law system that govern medical malpractice suits. states are in the best position to be able to regulate the provision of medical services. And there are huge disparities. There's tremendous diversity among the states, including my own state, where it costs about half to provide health care to a citizen over a course of a year than it does in Washington, D.C. States need to be able to respond to differences in their demographics, in their geography, and other conditions within their state. This is a state issue.
There's an attending physician downstairs in the building here, which I don't know that many Americans have in their office places. There's an attending physician available for you. Got to keep it, got to cut it out.
Those members who choose to visit that doctor for treatment pay for it the same way they would another doctor. My understanding is that they've calculated out the price of it, and it's calculated out to be your per capita share.
Actually, though, Diane, going back to Obamacare, that's part of the problem with Obamacare. It was originally about affordability and accessibility. Where was the accessibility for the people in my district? It's not there. That's the problem that we've really got to be dealing with and focusing.
And the affordability. I don't think anyone in America feels that the cost of health insurance has decreased since this bill has been signed into law. Exactly.
Health insurance premiums are increasing.
Premiums have
It's laid people off.
And it brought in parts that we didn't even talk about. And where is the tort reform? Where is the oversight there? Where was the creativity in the insurance industry to market individual plans? Where was that aspect?
Again, forgive me for switching topics here, but Afghanistan, I want to make sure that we talk about it because there will be votes coming up to continue funding the war in Afghanistan. I know, Senator, you've expressed reservations. Any of you thinking it is time, what it is it $5 billion every month? $5 billion a month for the war in Afghanistan. Are you all going to continue funding the war at the current level?
I've had 3 deaths in my district just in the past couple of months, and I've attended 2 of those funerals, and I tell you, it's tough. But I tell you, walking away from them, I hear the family say, but you know what, just don't let him die for naught. And I've not been to Afghanistan, I have not had full briefings, but I do think that we do need to take a real evaluation, have the adult conversation, and say, are we successful here or not, or do we have to step back and reevaluate? And I think that's time for that conversation.
Depends on the mission. The reality is, what is the overall mission? Mm-hmm. I personally feel, as someone that has served in combat in the Middle East, that if we're going to stick to certain timelines as the president has put forward, then we should bring our boys home now because they cannot succeed under those conditions. The reality, because of a myriad of challenges in Afghanistan, from the terrain to the corruption of the government and to the lack of infrastructure and so on, that's nation building. If we really want to make a long-term difference in Afghanistan and give the people of Afghanistan a difference, rather to work for a warlord and grow poppy, or to have a life independent of that, then we have to do nation building, and for that we need an international force. It's bigger than what the United States can do, and if we're not committed to doing that, then we should bring our boys home.
Let's also talk about it in the context of the role of Congress versus the role of the White House. In the White House, you have our commander-in-chief. As long as he is going to have our troops in Afghanistan, our role in Congress is to make sure that they're adequately funded, that they have the right weapons, they have the right defensive capabilities. That's our job as congressmen, and that's what I'm committed to do.